Good morning, Canvas family. Welcome back to another day. I have some special guests with us today. Let me start introducing him. You all know Steve already. He's Canvas famous. He's Twitter rock star status. I'd love to make something up like he'd actually won 2 gold medals in being Canvas awesome, but that would be a lie simply because it doesn't exist. Steve is a member of the beta program currently for the Canvas Certified Educator program that these fantastic Canvas team members are going to tell you all about today. Michelle Latke, Aaron Keefe, Lauren Fox, they represent the awesomeness that is Canvas, and they helped start this entire Certified Educator program. We are super excited about it. We've gotten a whole lot of response. We've actually had a significant amount of people who have signed up over the past however many days it's been, 5 days, Michelle, maybe. So we are excited for the next few minutes to just tell you all about the program. So with that, I'm going to hand it right on over to Michelle. But before I do, don't get antsy. Michelle, hold on. Everybody, reminder to tell us who you are, where are you from, and if you've already signed up for the Canvas Certified Educator program. With that, Michelle, there's a lot of people, so don't be nervous. No stage fright. Get on it.
No pressure, right? No pressure. Thanks, Mark. Well, we're so excited to chat with all of our awesome Canvas fans out there today to talk about the Canvas Certified Educator program. It is something that has been near and dear to my heart and Aaron's heart and Lauren's heart for some time. And been a real passion project for a number of members of our learning services team. We wanted to tell you a little bit about the program, about sort of the history of how it came to be, and a little bit about the structure and what we think makes it kind of extra awesome and something that is worthwhile for educators. So we put together some slides today just to kind of go over the program and tell you a little bit more about it. And so with that, the first thing we wanted to just talk a little bit about is what is it? And so if you haven't had a chance to read the press release or the blog post, the Canvas Certified Educator program is meant to be a professional development series. We really wanted to not just talk about the buttonology of Canvas, but really combine those pedagogical best practices with Canvas use. So really making those applications of Canvas that are going to be the most valuable to your classroom experience. And we also—
Michelle, I have to stop you because everyone, I think you probably heard it. She used the word buttonology. That was the coolest thing I've heard all day. Please continue.
I'm glad I could bring a new word to the table. I often make up my own words, so that might be one of them. But but no, yeah, I mean, we know that there's certain things that are just part of learning a new tool, right? What buttons to push and you know, where to click and what the steps are. And what we wanted to bring to the table with this program is more than that, the real connections to teaching and learning. And we know that we have a number of ways for teachers to learn the Canvas basics for various stakeholders, whether they're students or teachers or admins, and we'll actually share that a little bit in a minute. But we wanted to focus Canvas Certified Educator on those educators that were ready for those next deeper steps. Thanks, Hildy. We're so excited about it as well. And so let's get to that. Why did we build this? You know, for those that are saying that they asked for this, right? Why? That's part of why we built this. Is we had 2 distinct asks from the educators that we were talking to over the last few years. One was people wanted high quality professional learning that was focused on online and blended learning. And they also wanted a Canvas certification program. And so we thought, you know, this is a great opportunity to bring those 2 things together. And so we also know from all the great research that our strategy team brings to the table that the research in both K-12 and higher ed tells us that teacher efficacy has a high impact on student success. And so being able to bring that PD element that helps with teacher efficacy seemed like a research-based approach that we really wanted to focus on. And so about 2 years ago, we beta tested just a PD program. We did some topics like project-based learning and SAMR, and we had some really great feedback from the educators that participated in that. And they felt like it was a worthwhile thing that they'd like us to do more of. And then as a next step in InstructureCon of 2019, we did some live PD that was aligned with Digital Promise, who is a partner of ours, and we'll talk a little bit about how that ties into Canvas Certified Educator later. But we did sort of that idea of connecting together the Canvas piece, that buttonology piece, with those best practices tied into a research-based rubric that really let people know whether they had mastered a skill or not. And so we tested that at InstructureCon last year and got a lot of great feedback from that as well. And based on our learning from those two experiences, that allowed us to combine together that demand for research-based PD as well as the request for a certification opportunity. And so with that, we wanted to provide that deeper experience that goes beyond the basics. And so in thinking about whether this is something that educators might find valuable or might want to do, we thought it might be important to highlight what makes this program different from other opportunities that people might have available to them. And so one of the things that was really important to us, and thanks for the shout out to Digital Promise, Tyler. We love Digital Promise as well. They're such a great partner. And one of the things that we think makes this program different from maybe some other opportunities out there is that it's facilitated. We love asynchronous online learning. We think it's a great opportunity. Self-paced is great. There's all different awesome ways to learn online. But for this program, we really wanted to have a facilitator that could provide high quality feedback to the work that people were submitting, so that it wasn't just going out into the void, or that you weren't just hoping that what you were doing was right, that you had the opportunity to talk to someone who is both a Canvas expert as well as an educator for many years, and get that feedback that's going to help you grow and help you reflect and help you take what you're doing to the next level. So I think that's a differentiator for the program, is that opportunity to have an expert facilitator guiding you through the course. I think the second differentiator is that there's an amazing opportunity for networking and collaboration around shared practices. We have people all over the country who are doing amazing things with Canvas. And sometimes we have lots of ways that we can network through social media, through our amazing Canvas community. But sometimes you don't get the opportunity to get really deep into things, right? To really share work with each other and talk about feedback. And so we wanted that opportunity to take that networking collaboration to the next level and really talk about those communities of practice. And then also what I already mentioned, which is that connection to research, right? Not just how do I click this, but why would I click this? What impact is that going to have on student success? We talked already about that facilitator being able to provide feedback, but the other flip side of that is you're creating mastery evidence. So you are basically taking what you've learned and you're creating something from it. And you're saying, this thing that I created, this shows that I have this skill. And so you're actually demonstrating the application of the skill. So rather than going out and taking a test that says, I answered all these questions correctly, so I know Canvas, you're actually creating something that's meaningful. You're getting feedback on it, and then you can take that thing and bring it back to your institution and use it. And so we're hoping that that brings additional value, because you're not just walking away having taken a test. You're walking away with something that then you can go and use and apply at your institution. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? I get really worked up with my hands. And so, but with that, some people have asked the question, well, if this is for people who know the basics, well, how do I learn the Canvas basics? And so we wanted to just take a moment to highlight some things that are already out there to learn the Canvas basics. For anyone, no matter what, where your institution is at with Canvas, we have a great opportunity for you to learn through the Canvas network. So if you haven't checked out the Canvas network before, the URL is just canvas.net. And when you go into the Canvas network, you can filter by categories. And if what you're looking for is to learn about Canvas, in the categories, you can pick Learn Canvas. And there's a number of courses that are for different user profiles for educators, for admins, for students, and we even have them in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. So lots of options where people can enroll and learn the basics of Canvas, and it's totally free. So you can either do this as an individual, or if your institution wanted to use these resources, these Canvas course resources, they're also available for free in the Commons. So lots of opportunities to learn the basics of Canvas for free, which I think we're really proud to be able to offer those opportunities. And if you're a Canvas customer already, we also have in the help menu of Canvas the training portal, which provides great on-demand content. It's kind of like on-demand video for learning Canvas, and so you can go in and get little small chunks that connect your learning with your applications as well. So lots of great ways to learn the Canvas basics for free.
And Michelle, I hope you don't mind me interrupting here, but going back to your point, there are some tools and some resources about Canvas basics built into the course that I've seen going through the beta, which have been phenomenal from my standpoint. And then going back to your point about the facilitator and getting that feedback, that's one of my favorite features of all of this. Is you're going to participate in discussions, you're going to be submitting different assignments as part of a larger project, and you get personalized feedback, and we always preach that when to our teachers to provide personalized feedback to your students, and it's nice to see that as we're students in this beta course to receive that type of feedback. So just to kind of go off of what you were talking about, it's definitely one of the great features of this course.
Thank you so much for sharing that feedback, Steve. It's really meaningful to know that facilitator feedback has made an impact. And I think the call out that you made about modeling best practices and modeling that how feedback can be given inside of Canvas is one of the things that we wanted to achieve. When Lauren and Aaron a little bit later showed their favorite parts of the courses, I think that's something that we tried to do in a lot of the parts of the course, is not just talk about things, but actually model them in the ways that we would want people to do them, either in their own professional learning or in their uses with students. So thanks so much for calling that out. I think that's an awesome call out. And so now that we know about some of those other opportunities to learn the basics, and as Steve mentioned, we do incorporate some of the foundational knowledge into the courses as well, as ensuring that people have that strong foundation to be able to be successful in the things that we're asking them to do. Let's talk a little bit about how the program works and how this professional development series will work if you were to decide to sign up. So essentially, there's a program for K-12 and a program for higher ed, and those programs involve 4 core courses and then an elective track, which consists of 2 courses. So one of the things we like about the elective track is it gives people an opportunity for choice. We know that people like to investigate different things or may have interests in different areas. And so we wanted to allow for that choice opportunity in the program. And so we will be rolling out some of the signups for the elective tracks in the coming week. But essentially, the elective tracks are things around connections, assessment, leadership, different pertinent topics that come to mind when you think about the applications of Canvas in both higher ed and K-12. But those core 4 are structured around topics that we felt like were pertinent to online and blended learning in both higher ed and K-12. And so to tell you a little bit more about what those core 4 are about, I'm going to pass it over first to Erin, who's going to tell us a little bit about the first 2 courses, Foundational Frameworks and Engagement Strategies. I do want to call out really quickly that this is a progression. And so we're going to be pretty strict about people following the progression of the courses and not skipping around. It was very purposefully built in a way to have a build of modeling that practice and incorporating choice when we get to the choice elements and all of those things. And so even if you feel like you have a strong set of knowledge around instructional frameworks, the thing that's a little bit different here is we're talking about it in the context of Canvas. And so it gives you an opportunity to very purposefully think about the context of Canvas around these different topics that you might already be familiar with. So we're going to activate that prior knowledge, right? We're going to activate your prior knowledge around those, and then we're going to connect it to the new knowledge of Canvas. So sorry, with that, Erin, you can go ahead.
Sure. So the first of the core courses, core 1 is Foundational Frameworks. And in the first one, we do really explore we start with Sammer and Bloom's and the correlation between the two. And then we go deeper into other technology frameworks that you may be familiar with. And what the aim of the course is for you to apply it to your own situations. And so no matter what grade level you teach, you're looking at it through your lens of where you are an educator and applying it in your classroom. So it does have great applications there. And this one is aligned to the Digital Promise Microcredential, Why Use Tech in the Classroom. Core 2 is Engagement Strategies. So in this one, we really explore the ways that Canvas can help get your students engaged in and make them more successful in the classroom. We're really excited about this one. Lauren and I think this one we're not supposed to have a favorite child, but this one might be our favorite one. Maybe not, maybe personalized learning. Okay, but the linked microcredential for this one is teaching protocols. And then I'll turn it over to Lauren to talk to you about the next 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, Erin, it's a tough pick. Personalized learning was probably my favorite because it really gets to the next level where we start to make that transition away from the teacher-centered learning into the student-centered learning. So this is really exciting because it's a lot of strategies around empowering the learner and really giving voice and choice. The Digital Promise credential here is the voice and choice, but really making that shift to the student and a lot more creation and a lot more freedom and autonomy in those choices and metacognition, a lot of fun stuff there. And then the last one is really where we see the shift all the way to the other end of our frameworks, where we start to see more of that redefinition, a lot more creation, and then not just using the core features of Canvas, but starting to bring in all of the learning tools from outside and bringing them in and creating highly engaging opportunities for students and teachers to really express their learning and elicit that type of evidence from students that shows mastery at the higher levels and depths of knowledge. So you see a total progression here, and you can see hopefully the reason why these core courses have prerequisites and must go in a certain sequence. I know that's been a question in the chat here. So yes, you have to go through the progression and kind of a lockstep. But the nice thing is that within these applications, there is a lot of choice because you are taking your content, your context, and really applying it to what matters to you and what's relevant to you and your students.
Thanks, Erin and Lauren. And so that sort of gives you a little bit more information about what each course is about. And then, of course, we talked about the final part of the progression is the elective track that allows you some choice. And so at the culmination of this program, InStructure will award a Canvas Certified Educator credential or badge. And so, the thing that I think is important to understand about this program is we've also aligned with Digital Promise, as we mentioned earlier. And so, Erin, if you can advance to the next slide, the first thing you'll see here is this is the credential that InStructure will award you. And so you'll get a credential for each course, and then those credentials for the courses will essentially make a pathway for this Canvas Certified Educator credential, which InStructure will award you. In addition to that, as you heard Lauren and Erin mention, we've also aligned each of the courses with a micro-credential from Digital Promise. Now, Digital Promise is a partner of theirs, and a partner of ours, and they essentially are an organization that has gone out and identified skills that are important for educators. And they have a relationship with several states and institutions across the country. And they actually have a policy map that shows you, what states that they have micro-credential policies and things like that. It's really cool. But in addition to the credential we are giving you, we thought, wouldn't it be cool if you had the ability to earn sort of, nationally recognized credentials around educational skills? And so as part of being in these courses, with each course at no additional charge to you, we've made an agreement with Digital Promise, you'll be able to apply for the credential that's aligned to each course. And so if it's optional, you don't have to do this part, but if you want to take what you've made in our course and submit it to Digital Promise, you can earn an additional credential at no extra cost that is recognized at states and institutions across the country. So we thought that was a great opportunity for people who might be wanting to use this for credentialing or other opportunities, to use it for credit of sorts.
Okay, so let's take a really quick pause. Erin, don't be mad at me because I'm throwing your groove off. That's what I do very best, is I throw people's groove off. I'm going to show really quickly. I better pull it up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to show just a couple of quick comments that have come in from some of the great educators like Steve, who have had a chance to be part of this beta. Let me put this on the old present mode. So you'll see some names that you know there. For example, Queen Kona, who says favorite part so far is that the main focus isn't on Canvas as much as good, solid online teaching. There's been a lot of comments out there. We understand there is some difficulty for many of you with the price. We get it. This is very, very different from the Google Certified Educator program. It's very different from the Microsoft program. That's not what this kind of program is. We were very careful in looking at what other competitors are doing, competitors who have similar things, and our cost is even lower, I believe, Michelle, from what other competitors are offering. So we're sorry about that for sure. We would absolutely recommend that you take advantage of some of the free resources that we have, because there are many. That's a great place to start. But there are a lot of educators who are already seeing a lot of value out of this program. We are also, this is what we call a tease in the news, everybody. Michelle and I will be announcing later this week some scholarship opportunities to be able to kick off this first cohort. You might say, well, why don't you just announce it yet? Because we've got to wait until later this week. But watch the old Twitter. Watch Twitter, watch Facebook. We'll be putting something out. I think, what day is today? Oh my goodness, it's Wednesday. Tomorrow we will hopefully be putting something out about the announcement, if not Friday. There will be some scholarship opportunities. But please know that all of those things were thought about very, very carefully. There's a lot of people who are already seeing the value of this, and a significant number of people who have already signed out. Totally hear you, Katie, on change the name. Sounds too much like MCE and GCE. Great feedback. Keep all the feedback coming, everybody, as always. with that, I'm going to stop talking because Michelle's like, why does he keep talking? Erin, you're up again. Share that slide.
No,
deck.
I'm so glad. We've been watching that great feedback come in from our beta testers as well, and really so proud of the feedback, because I think it speaks to all the reasons that we created the program. And so I think, as you called out, Mark, we looked at the opportunity to create just a test versus creating high quality PD, and we really wanted this to be about that high quality PD, and so that's what we have aligned with here. And so to get into kind of that thought behind, how's this structured? What is the PD going to be like? We are all educators in learning services, and so we wanted to build something that we would want to take and how we would want to do PD. And so we wanted to have a really solid structure within the courses that helps people to feel consistency from course to course and module to module, but also helps to use those best practices of activating that prior knowledge, giving people an opportunity to think about their new learning, reflect, and demonstrate those practices. And so with that, in every module inside the course, you'll see a flow that very appropriately spells out the word PANDA. But here, PANDA stands for prepare to engage. So we'll share the learning goals with you. Activate that prior knowledge. So start to make those connections between what you already know. Navigate the new resources. So this is looking at those new things that you are going to learn in this module or section. Then demonstrating your understanding based on the new learning. So there's some sort of small performance task in each module, then a larger performance task at the end of the course. And then the opportunity to articulate your learning with your peers. So that's that shared community of practice that we talked about, with opportunities to collaborate with those that are experiencing the course along with you. And so one of the things that we wanted to do to close out is I wanted to have Lauren and Erin share their favorite parts of the courses, and also to give Steve a opportunity to talk about his experience and the things that he's liked the most about his participation in the beta program. So with that, I'll toss it over to Lauren, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her favorite parts of the program.
Yeah, it's a favorite part, but yeah, I always have a hard time choosing just one thing. So I'll try to get through these pretty quickly. And I think a lot of them have been mentioned, but I really want to emphasize that the thoughtfulness that went into this, the design of these courses, really helped us grow empathy, even more so for our teachers out there who are building every day in Canvas, or our specialists who are working with teachers, guiding them in this. So my first bullet is really the intentionalness that we put in the really creating an experience that immerses all of our participants in the models of best practice, with support that is coming from not only the facilitator, but also from your peers within the course, who will really help you identify what are the shifts that need to happen to create this transfer into your everyday context with your students. We also wanted to make sure that there was a commitment to all those wonderful metacognitive practices to really get teachers thinking about personalization. They start off the first course really looking at a self-assessment of how they're currently using Canvas with all the features, and then set goals with that and reflect on that. And that is really cyclical throughout all of these courses, to make sure that we are being very intentional about the metacognitive pieces that are so important to model for our students, and then again, expect that high level of application within all of our learning experiences. There's also the awareness of potential to grow from your current status. So I've seen lots of questions in the chat, like, is this appropriate for K-5? Is it appropriate for somebody higher ed? Absolutely, because what we've done in each of the tracks is we've created opportunities for you to take your current level. Obviously, we want you to be beyond the buttonology, but wherever you are in your Canvas implementation with your students, how can you make this meaningful to your context? So really the entry point for all the different levels beyond buttonology are really apparent within these experiences. There's also this opportunity for this collective consciousness that I really love, and I think it's so important to humanizing the experience when you're working in digital, is really making the learning visible. So in addition to the metacognitive pieces, we've got this opportunity to really make our learning, whether it's successes or failures and our iterations, extremely visible, not only to ourselves, but also to our peers, to create this amazing cultivation of a classroom culture, right? The growing energy and excitement within our Canvas community around taking Canvas to the next level is just thrilling to me, and why this is such a passionate project. And then lastly, opportunities to see. I was in the classroom for 20 years and then worked as an admin for 4 years, but being able to see what's happening on the ground with these teachers and being able to amplify and celebrate the amazing things that you guys are doing, especially right now with the challenges that you're facing, just brings me the utmost joy. So that's it in a nutshell. So I think I've covered all of it. Before I start crying, I'm going to turn it over to Erin.
Oh, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, and you can really see in Lauren and Michelle and I and me how much we really do care about the work that we have here. What my favorite part of the courses is the new and applicable resources that we've created for you that are a part of it. And I'm just going to show some screenshots of some of the things that we've created that are a part of these courses that the participants will have the access to, that aren't going to be anywhere else, that we've really put a lot of thought in for things that they're going to be able to use in their own classroom and really help them to expand and grow as educators. And we've had a lot of fun creating them. You can see that we put a lot of thought into it. And the other part that I love about that is that throughout the course, we also have these highlights in the course, these call outs to show, this is the application and why we're doing it. When we have an embedded tool, we have a box that I'm showing you right here, and we tell you more about the tool and why we're using it. And if we have a specific use case that's pedagogically focused, we also call those out. And and those are the pieces that I wanted to highlight today, because I think those are really exciting.
Thanks, Lauren and Erin. Those are such great call outs. And Erin, one of the ones that you shared, those call outs of things that we're doing purposefully in the course, I like to think of that as like a think aloud. When I was in the classroom, sometimes I'd do a think aloud with my students, and I'd walk them through the process of what I was doing while I was doing it. And so this is our virtual version of a think aloud, right? We're going to call out to you what we're doing as we're doing it. So you're not only getting the experience of learning that thing, but also seeing the why behind why we did that practice, so that you can replicate it in your classroom. So love all those items that you called out. So we also invited our friend Steve to join us. He's been participating in our beta test. And so Steve, we'd love to give you an opportunity to tell us about your beta testing experience, what your favorite parts are, and how you think this might help others, or anything else you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for having me on today. First and foremost, I was super excited to be asked to join this beta. So thank you to everyone from Instructure and Canvas for providing me with this opportunity. I think one of the biggest things that I was excited about was, I consider myself pretty much a Canvas guru at this point, but I really wanted to see what the people from Canvas and Instructure, how their course was going to be set up. And man, I'm telling you guys, they did not disappoint. The course itself is clean, it's easy to navigate, and it's just, you could tell it was really, really well thought out and well planned. So Erin, Michelle, Lauren, your team just has knocked it out of the park. They've killed it. And I'm in week 3, and I'm excited to keep on going. I took some notes about what are my favorite things about the course. And to be honest with you, it's about 2 pages long. So I went ahead and highlighted a couple of things, because I could talk about this for a really long time. So first and foremost, I think the most important thing to really stress is it's not just Canvas, right? It's a blend of Canvas, don't get me wrong, but you're also learning best teaching and learning practices and strategies along the way, which I think is really, really important to know. I think that's what sets this apart from like a Google certified educator program, for example, because I've gone through that. And while that is helpful, this is just so much more, and in my opinion, just so much more effective and better. You learn how to leverage technology that aligns with the learning goals and targets of a particular lesson that you're teaching. And so with that being said, there's a lot of self-assessment along the way. There's goal setting, there's reflection. That's been really helpful for me in my standpoint as well. I think going through and thinking about just the past lessons. So, there's a lot of focus on the SAMR model. And I have to be honest with you, I thought that I had like a good understanding of the SAMR model, but just being able to be in this course and see the resources and the research that's been provided, and then also to hear from my peers who are in the course about their reactions and how they think about the SAMR model has just been really, really insightful. So for example, I thought about one comment in a discussion that we were taking part of that really stood out to me. And Felicity mentioned in this discussion that she looked at the SAMR model not as a barometer, but more of like a continuum. And that to me was almost like a mind grenade, like, oh my gosh, that's a great way to think about that. And I don't know if I would have really came to that conclusion and thought about that without being, put into the same, course, for lack of better words, with these great educators that I'm involved with. You dive into how SAMR and Bloom's taxonomy work together. That's also really, really important, and how teachers can, go ahead and take those two models and kind of combine them to, again, look for best teaching practices and how to include technology as well into their lessons. I think one of my favorite things, and I think Aaron brought it up, was just a really quick snapshot of it, is a graphic or a hyperdoc really that looks at the SAMR model, and then it takes and provides examples of how you can take tools and features built within Canvas and model those for your course. To me, that was just an amazing resource, and something that I know, I'm definitely going to keep in my back pocket and use with my teachers as well, because it's just like very, very helpful. As I believe it's already been mentioned, you also see some other outside tools that can be embedded into Canvas, and I really appreciate that. So for example, one of those was Wakelet. And don't get me wrong, I'm really familiar with that, but I never really thought about putting that into Canvas before. And so when I saw that, it was almost like, oh man, I should have thought about that moment, but it was great to kind of see that. And I guess by far my favorite experience, my favorite part about this course so far is the articulate your learning portion, right? So this is where you get to have a discussion with your peers and you get to see what they're thinking, and just some of the things that people are typing and sharing their experiences in their teaching, in their leadership, and things like that. It's just amazing. It's allowed me to grow professionally, and I'm already in week 3, and I'm really looking forward to see what is to come. So it's just been a really amazing experience. I promise you guys, I'm not paid by Canvas to say any of these things. Mark did get it wrong though. I'm a 3-time gold medalist in Canvas. No, I'm just kidding. But it really has been an honor. And I'd like to thank, again, Lauren, Michelle, and Aaron for all the hard work they did into this, because they definitely did it right.
Love it. So Michelle's going to answer a couple questions for us. Some people are wondering, what are these scholarship opportunities we talk about? Well, everybody, like I told you, this is a tease. This is a teaser. I'm actually trying to get some final word back from a vendor that we're going to be using to help us with that scholarship process. And he tried to call me just barely as we were on this call. So hopefully tomorrow, if not today, we will launch what that will look like. Michelle and I have got to sit down and figure out exactly how many we're going to be offering over the next little bit. What's the process going to be like for people to submit? But yes, there are definitely some scholarship opportunities. I've seen a whole lot of my friends from Irving ISD on there. We know you're a brand new customer. We know you're doing killer stuff. I actually have your superintendent on the show this Friday, as well as multiple teachers and one of your students. So join us again. I think that one, I mean, while I'm self-promoting, I mean, I might as well tell you that's at 4 p.m. Central on Friday afternoon. So scholarship opportunities coming. Keep up the good questions. Michelle, what else do you want to answer and add?
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mark. And also, we're so excited about that scholarship program. I think it's going to be so great. And I know there were a couple of questions around, it looks like the K-12 course filled up. And so we're going to open a new section. So if you tried to sign up and it said it was full, stay tuned. We're going to get a new section opened so that people can continue to sign up. So don't fret, you'll still have an opportunity. And that leads me to another question, which I've seen a few places out there is, you know, if I don't take this one that's in November, does that mean I've missed the boat for all of time? And no, you have not. We can't have courses that span from 1 year to the next year for a lot of reasons, just because it adds some complexity. So we're going to start a new cohort of that first course, that frameworks course, in 2021. So if you feel like you can't take it at the end of this year, but you're still really interested, we'll open some new sign-up opportunities for the foundational frameworks course in 2021. But also for those of you who still do want to take it in November, we're going to open up another section. So you'll be able to sign up for that as well, since the first one filled up. I also thought it might be a good opportunity to answer some questions around signing up and the whole program versus individual courses. That's a question I've seen a lot of places. And right now through the website, we only have the ability to sign up on a course by course basis. But we are looking at options for that. We do have the option for institutions to sign up for the whole program. So at your institution, they can do a whole program. But on the individual purchase option, we have a course by course option right now. We're looking at ways that we could allow people to do the whole program through the website without having to do each individual course. But we also wanted to have the option of letting people pick their dates of when they wanted to take each course, which is why we went with that course by course option. But we'll investigate that program option for individuals. But for right now, individuals can do the courses and institutions can do the program.
Love it. Let's take this question here from Danielle on YouTube, wondering, do you need to renew the certification after a set amount of time, similar to Google?
So that's a great question, Danielle. We wanted people to have the opportunity to keep their skills fresh with Canvas, because we know that Canvas changes and adjusts all the time as part of a software in the cloud. And so we are going to have a renewal opportunity for people, but it won't be a requirement to take the whole program over again. One of the nice things about the elective tracks is it gives people lots of opportunities to learn different topics. So when people want to renew, they will just have to take a new elective track. And so that gives them an opportunity to freshen up, but also to explore a new topic that's interesting to them.
Love it. Any other, I know we're seeing some questions here about cost for institution. The cost for institution is the same as it is for individuals. You can just pay in a different way. If there are specific questions, don't hesitate. As always, I love people asking me things, as you know. Mark, mark.booth, BOOTHE @instructure.com. If I was really smart, I would have just given Michelle's email address out, but I'm not that smart. Josh, you're right on your question there. The renewal isn't mandatory. No, the renewal is not mandatory, but there will be additional courses and new things that you can learn throughout the process that become available. As always, I'm open. I love people yelling at me or screaming at me. So please come at me with all your questions. I'm ready. I'm back tomorrow morning. We are talking to one of our fantastic partners, Watermark, 10:30 a.m. Mountain. This program just launched, everyone. Literally, we were standing the website up last week to make sure this was all a go. The development of the content has been in the works for a long time, obviously, and it's incredible. We have testimonial after testimonial after testimonial from people like Steve, Kona, and a whole list of others who are just loving this thing. Christy, our friend in Hawaii right now, is saying, but will you tell me how to register? Everyone, this link right now that is coming at you on all the platforms, I want you to click on that link right now. Stop listening to me. I'm not going to say anything else valuable. Click on that link, hit the register now button, and you can register. With that, it's been a pleasure having these good friends on here. We will be talking to everybody else very shortly and soon, as in tomorrow morning. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you tomorrow.